the Court of Wings and Ruin actually the weakest book in the ACOTAR series? Or is it the one that sets up everything still to come? Because while some of us, Emily, dismiss this book as slow or overly political, it might secretly hold the most important groundwork for where this world is headed.
Stick around to the end because we're diving into fan theories, connections that might change the way you look at this book series and the rest of the Massiverse forever.
That's right. In this episode of Book Fits and Chill, we're diving into part one out of two of A Court of Wings and Ruin. We'll recap everything from Feyre in the Spring Court taking it down through the High Lords meeting where her and Tamlin have their final showdown. We'll share our rankings of the characters and we're going to play romantasy referees and call out our green, red, and beige flags because there are literally so many riddled throughout. Plus, we'll start pulling the threads that hint at what might be coming in ACOTAR 6.
Ooh. We start this book back in the Spring Court, and I was hoping to never return there. So we're back with Feyre. She is being spy master extraordinaire, and she's convinced everybody in the Spring Court, Tamlin, Lucien, Hybern, and his cronies, that she forgives them all for what they've done to their sister and that she's on their side.
Oscar-worthy performance out of Feyre.
Yeah, she, like Cassie said, is a grudge holder extraordinaire, and she's willing to do anything to stab these people in the back a little bit extra. So there's two twins we meet when we first get into this, and they're like Hybern's niece and nephew. What were their names? I'm not even gonna try to attempt.
I can't
All you
even
need to
remember.
know is that
Irrelevant.
they were creepy, freaky, and were giving Game of Thrones incestuous.
They really were.
I think they were twins, maybe, which maybe like
They
you
were
give
twins.
Okay, you give twins a pass, but honestly, so creepy. They're trying to go and break the wall. So Feyre's whole thing is that she's supposed to like help them find out like where the cracks in the wall are and how people are getting through, right? Like that's her point in this.
Yeah.
So she is trying to help them supposedly bring down this wall.
They don't tell her specifically what they're trying to find with the wall, but they're essentially doing like assessments of different portions of it, like seeing where there's weaknesses, all of that stuff. And I think our assumption is that they're sending that information back to Hybern to ultimately bring down the wall. So that they're flashbacking to the right. They're talking about the moment when Tamlin felt like he had to go to Hybern because he felt like he had to save Feyre.
Yeah.
And of course, it was when she sent her letter that she thought was going to be the thing that was going to be like, Tamlin, you're good.
Which
and
I
turns out that
called
was the entire moment that Tamlin was like, she is literally in peril. Like, she is not okay. I must save her.
He's never seen a love note from her. He doesn't even know her handwriting.
No, it's wild. So we learn all of this stuff from Lucien, and
this is
when
while they're on their journey trying to break down the wall.
Exactly. So
Oh God, this book.
they go they go on multiple journeys though to the wall. So this is kind of happening over a long period of time. And in the meantime, Ra is pulling apart the Spring Court like thread by thread from the inside. Like she is playing Tamlin better than he can play his own fiddle. Like it was masterful, honestly. Like I really appreciated it. I know Emily has thoughts about this.
She was not considering anything outside of the fact that she wanted to ruin these people. Like she wasn't considering what's happening in the other courts, what's happening in the human realm, what she could possibly be like untethering by making her point known.
Right. Like, I'm not saying that it's right, but for me, if you sabotaged me, you hurt my sisters, you were trying to take down my family, like, you're done. I would be doing the exact same thing. I'm literally not thinking a thing of it.
So this is where they go on another mission. And this is where she decides to make her, like, grand escape and also her, like, grand, I guess, gesture of grudginess, right?
She had planned on like planting her like mind powers essentially on all of them to make them all believe that Tamlin and Ianthe like turned against her and run away. And that was going to be her like final blow essentially to the Spring Court, which I love.
So she sees like Ianthe being a sexual predator again and
Shocking.
is like feeling up Lucien against his will. I don't know what kind of hold she has over Lucien that he can't like bat her away, but he's not.
She's had him in chains.
Oh, she is
I don't
a
know what kind of
predator.
hold she had. She literally
She is a predator.
bound in chains.
And so she like takes control of Ianthe's mind, makes her grab a freaking rock and bash her own hand in repeatedly. And I'm not talking about like 2 or 3 times, like 7, 8, 9, 10 times. This woman's bones are gravel in her skin.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yep.
is so wild. And if you're listening to it on audiobook, like also I could have thrown up.
Insane. I mean, she had it coming though. I was thrilled about that part. I was like, get her.
Yeah, I also
Get her
thought she
ass.
deserved it, but once again, I was like, Feyre, you're you're going a little off. You're going up a little bit, girl. Like, you gotta rein it back a little bit. Somebody's gonna use this against you later.
Yes, there are repercussions.
So then the
This is true.
two Daemati twins show up and they're like, Feyre, we've been on to you this whole time. You didn't think that we knew what you were doing. That sweet little snack we gave you earlier, we poisoned it with Faebane, and you're about to lose all of your powers. And then how does she end up killing them? Because that was also a wild scene where I was like, you're off your rocker.
I loved that scene because she barely even used magic. Like she like
Yeah,
just
'cause
had
she
her
was
little she had her like fighting knives.
yeah.
And they were like, "Oh shit, we thought that we were gonna fight you mind to mind. We didn't know we were gonna have to like physically fight you." And so
Yeah.
Feyre's basically like winnowing around, like stabbing, winnow,
Yes.
stab. Like she's insane. I thought it was great because like I feel like you don't see her fight a lot up until
No.
this book. And so that was one of the first scenes where she like really showed her like Illyrian training that she got from Cassian.
So, but then Lucien gets off the tree at some point.
She lets Lucien go, and Lucien is like kind of trying to help her in the battle, but he's also like shocked by her fighting skills too. Everyone's half frozen because they're like, wait a minute, what? Where did this come from?
Both of the twins dead.
Dead.
Killed.
Gone. Yeah.
And so then Lucian's like, you're not leaving me here because of what you just did. I'm not getting trapped in this. Like, they're going to come running out here and they're going to be like, who did this? So you're taking me with you. Where are we going?
Yeah. Yeah. And Feyre's like, we're going back to the night court and I don't want to hear a word about it. And so and Lucian's like, how do you plan to get there? And she's like, oh, you know, the cave system. And he's like, you don't know where you're going. And so they take this cave system into the Autumn Court. Of course, Lucien, this is his court that he was banished from by his father. And so they go on this entire mission, like through the like outskirts of the Autumn Court. They think they're in a safe spot. They're camping in a cave, and they get woken up by Lucien's brothers, like all 4 of them. And they're like, "Ha, we're gonna take you to our dad, and you're so fucked." And they end up somehow, because they're in the Autumn Court, their Autumn Court
The
powers
kernel
are
of the autumn power feels stronger.
exactly. So they're able to use their like fire power, even though all the rest of their powers are nullified. So they get away. They run through the Autumn Court to the border of the Winter Court. They think that they're safe. They're trying to cross ice. They're not safe. The brothers are there. They're waiting for them. It's looking bleak because obviously these men have fire powers. So they're basically like melting the entire
The
ice
ice
that
is
Feyre and Lucien
cracking.
are around. The ice is cracking. It's melting. It's not good. And then 2 men show up. Our favorite men with wings, Cassian and Azrael, show up and they're like, hell no. Feyre decides to be a high lady in this moment. She's like, hold on, there might be repercussions to this. I didn't think about this with Ianthe.
The repercussions.
I didn't think about this with Ianthe or the Spring Court, but I am going to think about it now. She's
Or
like,
the
don't
Daemati
kill
twins.
these boys. Yeah. She's like, don't kill these boys. Leave them be and send a message to your Autumn King that like, we won't go down without a fight. And so they leave. They go back to the Night Court. And this is where we have our big reunion with Feyre and Rhys.
And you need to tell us this because you noticed something that I didn't know in this moment.
So Feyre and Rhys have their like little reunion. It's very cute. They obviously really missed each other because they weren't really able to like connect with each other down the bond.
I think they
And
said it had been like 3 months, which was shocking and unshocking because I felt like it was 3 months as well.
Emily knew it was 3 months. So Rhys like lets her know that he couldn't go get her himself because it was so close to the Autumn Court and the Winter Court border. Like if he would have showed up, it would have been a problem. So they're like basically like debriefing on all the stuff that happens. Feyre washes herself because she literally hasn't bathed in like 12 days or something.
Oh,
And
God.
oh God. And meanwhile, they're talking and they're debriefing, and Feyre starts crying because she's just like overwhelmed with emotion over the last 3 months of what happened. And Rhys licks her tears again.
She's always filthy when he does it. That man has better got a Hep B shot.
This man. And ever since we talked about the first tear licking moment, like people have said that they were really into it and they like thought that it was like, I don't even know what.
People
but
thought
like,
it was sexy. I guess it's like a thing in like romance books.
the second time around, I was still traumatized. She's like, okay, I better go see my sisters. She hasn't seen her
Yeah.
sisters since they were thrown into the cauldron and forced into being made into high fae.
And they're
So she
being
goes,
kept at the House of Wind, right?
yes, yeah, they're being kept up at the House of Wind. She goes up there. She finds Nesta first. Nesta, our girl, is just sitting reading a nice little romance book, like hanging
Yeah.
out by a window, chill vibes.
That
She
was
sees
cute.
all these people and she's like, oh my fucking God, why are you here? And Cassian is like starting to mess with her. We like start to see a little bit of the start of Nesta and Cassian's dynamics, which is really cute. Feyre is
Yeah.
like very confused by it because she's like, hold on, you guys didn't know each other before I left.
Why were they in the House of Wind and not the townhouse? I never really understood that.
I think because like no one can winnow up there. It's like far beyond the city. Like I think that they
Oh.
probably were like they need some fucking space. So
Yeah.
the House of Wind is like probably the best for that. So then they go to see Elain and it's like warning, this chick is like not well. Okay. And Feyre goes in, she's literally like a shell of a human. Like she
Yeah.
is just sitting there staring out the window. She like won't speak. She barely will look at anyone. She won't eat. And Nesta's obviously very upset about this because she's really protective over Elain. And they're like trying to talk to her. She won't respond. Lucien is horrified. He's like, oh my God, this is my mate. And like, what am I supposed to do?
She doesn't give a shit. That's what's
He's
going
like,
on
how
here.
did I get saddled with this? Yeah, she doesn't care. And Feyre's like, do you want to see Lucien? She's like, Lucien who? Like, what?
Who's Lucien? My wedding's in 3 days. She won't stop talking about the wedding. Everybody's like, shut the fuck up about the wedding. He literally doesn't want to marry you anymore.
Correct. So then they all reconvene back at the House of Wind that night for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when they are starting to talk about Nesta's unknown powers because we don't know what she got from the cauldron,
What
what
she
she took
took.
from the cauldron. We just know that she has some powers that at this point they all feel like are unholy and they don't understand.
Right.
And so we start to see those dynamics. They're trying to convince Nesta to essentially like help them figure out what's going on with the cauldron, what's going on with the wall. Amren and her start to really click and bond, which is kind of funny because
Yeah, I liked that part actually.
Amren's like, listen, like you need to help us and I will train you on these powers because I might be the only person here that actually understands them.
Yeah.
And Nesta's like, okay, but I'm going to ask you some questions.
Right.
And she's just like answering it.
And
I
what
was
is
like, I love that this is no filter.
And she had asked these questions that I thought were shocking. What did you used to be? Where did you used to be from?
Yeah.
And Amren goes into like this tall tale about this like world she came from where she rebelled against like her father. She fell through this like rift in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how she
said
ended up
that
here.
she said that she was a messenger and a soldier assassin for a god who ruled a young world.
Yes.
Whatever the fuck that means.
And
we
that,
will explore that later when we talk about our ACOTAR 6 theories. So then after this dinner, Nesta decides that she's going to work with them and that she'll train her powers. And Cassian and Feyre decide that they're going to meet with the Bone Carver to see if they can
right.
get the Bone Carver to ally with them because they need all of the help that they can get versus Hybrid. They also need some answers from him because they're like, we don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
And so while they're there, he's showing himself as this young boy with bright blue eyes and a lot of other things, and that we saw the first time that we met him in ACOWAR. And Feyre finally fucking realizes that
Yeah.
it's her and Rhys's son
She's
that
like,
he's showing up as.
oh my God, I'm just now seeing it.
Yeah, she's shocked.
She's shocked.
He also confirms that Nesta has death powers, which Cassian is shocked by. He's like,
Yeah.
damn it. Like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do
And
about
then
this?
he's like, Cassian, you prince of bastards, don't worry about it.
But this is where we start to see that Cassian is like really invested in Nesta because he's the one that's like really asking these questions, really pushing on it, like really trying to understand what happened with her. And so I thought that that was very interesting.
And so then the Bone Carver reveals that he is the brother. I was really surprised they had genders, by the way. The brother of his two sisters, the Weaver and Koshai, who is that the thing at the bottom of the library?
No.
Who is Koshai?
I don't think we've met Koshai yet.
Okay, I thought it was literally the thing at the bottom of the library this entire time.
No, I think that's Bryaxis.
Yeah,
which maybe later on we learn that that's actually Koshai. Let me look it up while you're going.
Yeah, so he tells them that they are all death gods from a time when they worshipped different kinds of gods that are no longer spoken about. And that the way that they all got trapped was from this Fey warrior female who tried to kill them all, but just ended up trapping them. She's not named. We don't know who she is, and we don't know if she's still alive and where she might be.
Koshai is the person who's confined to the lake that has cursed Queen Vassa.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. He's also like, Feyre, I am not going to help you unless you do me a favor. And she's like, God damn it, what is it? And he's like,
these bargains.
Yeah, these bargains. She's got to chill on the bargains. This girl's tattooed from head to toe in bargains. And he's like, you need to get the Ouroboros mirror. And at this point, does she know where it's at?
He tells her that Kier has it.
In the Court of Nightmares. And Feyre's like, Jesus, how am I going to get this? Like, okay, whatever. We'll try. And she doesn't ask any more questions, and then they leave.
And then they go back up to the House of Wind to like debrief on everything.
Yeah.
And Elain is starting to talk at this point. And basically the words that come out of her mouth, everyone is like, you have lost your marbles. She's like talking about like a raven and like raven's feathers, and then she's talking about how she could like hear everyone's heartbeats, like she can specifically hear.
She's in a different world, like she's not present.
Yeah, and she's like can specifically hear Lucien's heartbeats, and everyone's like, Elain, you just need some rest, okay? Like maybe a nice tea, I don't know, but like let's rest your brain. And she is just like, okay, I'm gonna go back to my silent corner. It is very like prophetic the way that she's talking about it, which like on the reread we know that these are her powers that are starting to come through.
Yeah.
But obviously no one's listening to her, and they're just like gaslighting her.
Yeah.
So cut to the Court of Nightmares. We have Rhys, Feyre, Azriel, Amren, and Nesta, and more. And their entire goal is to meet with Kier and get his legion of what are called Darkbringers to join them in this war, and also to figure out where this Ouroboros mirror is. And then Amren and Nesta are going to practice Nesta's powers around magical objects or magical things to like see what she's called to.
Like calls to light.
Like calls to light. So they end up sitting in a meeting with Kier. Kier's being a dick per usual. And he's like, why would I want to ally with you guys? Hybrid side is looking pretty nice to me. And who shows up? Eris. Out of nowhere. Mor is like, I am gonna fucking kill you. Like, you brought me to my dad's lair that I despise. You are already trying to get into cahoots with him for his army, and then you throw Eris into this.
Yeah.
And they basically put Eris into the mix because Eris is saying that he'll essentially like provide any support in exchange for him getting the throne when his dad leaves this earth, whenever the
Which,
fuck
like,
that's gonna happen.
they don't really, like, chat about what the plan is to make that happen, right?
No, no,
Yeah,
they
so,
don't.
like,
It's just like, okay, yeah, like, you'll get this spot, whatever.
yeah. Like, Rhys was making this plan the whole time and told nobody.
Yeah, Rhys is, like, pulling strings behind the scenes. He's only working with Azriel. Like,
Oh,
Azriel's
so
the only one that
Azriel knew
knows.
too, which is
Yes.
even more messed up.
Yeah, it's
Red flag!
more
Down
was
on the field! Red
flag.
flag!
Put him down. Our
Rhys-
first red flag of the game.
Rhys and Azriel, like, use your words. It's not that hard to communicate.
Well, technically, Azriel was only doing his job, so I'm gonna give him maybe a beige flag
Beige
for that
flag,
one.
okay.
And meanwhile, Feyre's like trying to mind speak with him and is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like Feyre
Yeah.
had no idea either, and he's just not responding, like shutting her out. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is bad."
This is bad. I did
This
not
is
get the
bad.
point. I didn't get the point.
No, no. Which he did later on say that he made a mistake, that he made a bad call. Like he
Yeah,
knew that
right.
the red flag was warranted.
Yeah, I know he does, but, like, you know, gaslighters can say anything they want.
That's true.
Kira tells her that this is where the Ouroboros mirror is, and he's like, ha ha ha, good luck trying to get it, because when you look into it, whoever touches it has gone crazy and lost their
Yep.
mind. And she, like, immediately is like, okay, then I'm like, good, I'm not gonna try to get it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, I'm out. I don't need the Bone Carver that much. And little do
Yeah.
they know, like, the situation's way more dire than they actually think. But she's like, it's fine. And Kier also is like, I will ally with you, but the thing that I want is to be let into Valaris whenever I
Oh,
want. And, like,
yeah.
I want my people to be let into Valaris. And Moore is like, please, for the love of God, no. Like, that is my happy place. That is my safe place. Like, do not let this monster in there. And Rhys is like, fine.
Yeah.
Like, it's conditional, but yes, like, that's fine. And Laura's just heartbroken. Like, it was so sad.
It was really
just
sad.
like,
I was like,
she's getting pummeled.
I was telling you, I was done with this book at that point. I was like, maybe to here, and I was like, rip this front cover off and start the book anew, because I don't like this.
I do think, though, like, this is where the dynamics of the group versus, like, needing to be a leader and, like, needing to be a high lord and a high lady really start to show, because sometimes those things come into contrast with each other. And, like, you're about to face a war where you're about to get wiped off the map. And it's like, yeah, you're going to have to make some really hard calls through that.
All your nightmares are going to come true, but we're going to save the world.
Second, the fact that Moore is, like, centuries old and she's still making this so personal. I'm like, you're Rhys's third and you are making it about you. Like,
Cassie,
I'm sorry.
She is
This is bigger than you.
This is centuries that is still on her mind. It must have been bad.
I did not support Rhys's call. But I also, which we saw when they got back to the townhouse, and Moore is like calling Rhys the fuck out on everything. Amren comes in and becomes the referee in this whole scenario. And she basically says, Moore, stop fucking making this about you. Like, you know that it's not. Rhys had to make the call. It was a tough one, but like now we have people on our side. And then she turns to Rhys and she's like, you made a bad call. Like, you should have shared this with people. Like, you need to allow people to like partner with you on these things, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're right.
So whatever.
I'm with Amren personally.
I'm always with Amren, but I am not with Rhys at this point. You know, I got Rhys and Feyre back in book 2, and now I'm throwing them in the garbage again.
Okay, so basically we get over this fight. Everyone kisses and makes up. Like, it's fine. And Nesta and Feyre are at this library that's in the House of Wind. And we meet all of these priestesses that are essentially taking like refuge in this library where Rhys and Moore have like saved them throughout the centuries. They were, you know, they've been through horrible atrocities. And like, this is basically their like refuge against the world.
Yeah.
And so Nesta and Feyre are at the library because they're still trying to do some recon on like how to save the wall, how to repair it. And they're about to have a moment. They're like sitting there, like talking about Elain. Feyre finally asks her for like the first time in the entire series, like, why do you favor Elain? Like, I don't understand. And Nessa's about to tell her. And then out of nowhere, 2 men show up and they're like, ha ha ha, we got you. And they are Hybern soldiers, and they are basically there to take Feyre and Nesta specifically, back to Hybern because Hybern believes that Nesta took something from the cauldron
And the
that needs
cauldron,
to be
like, needs
replaced.
it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So they're running through the library. They're trying to escape. Feyre ends up running into this being that lives in the bottom of the library that apparently has scared the wits out of Cassian so much that he's like, I can't
Yeah.
even discuss this thing. Like, I looked it in the eye one time and I will literally never forget it. She ends up bargaining with this thing. Its name is Bryaxis. And
Yep.
she's like, I'll give you whatever you want if you kill these men. And the Bryaxis is so chill. It's like, all I want is for someone to come down here and tell me
It was
about
actually
life.
so cute.
And I want to I just want to hear about life from someone. And she's like, done. And so he kills the Hybrid men. And Rhys shows up at this point, and so does Cassian. And they end up
Wait,
like bringing them out of the library.
can we talk about how the two men were called, like, the Ravens?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
they were like, were they dressed in black? I don't know. They were just like referred to as the two ravens. And
Yes.
it was what crazy seer Elain had said.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is when they understand, like, oh shit, Elain like was actually talking about things that were substantial.
Oh shit, where is she? We need her.
Oh God, we need her. We need her to speak more than 5 words. So then they are out of the library and they're all debriefing. Rhys is like upset. Feyre's upset. Nesta's like literally chugging liquor.
Yeah.
Rhys and Feyre are talking about like how dire this situation is becoming because basically they're all realizing like, oh, we are outnumbered by Hybern. He literally came into Valaris under our noses and we had no idea like what the fuck are we gonna do? And Rhys starts like all of this self-sacrificing talk and Feyre's like, how could you? Like, how could you talk like this? Like, I hate that you give yourself up so willingly and then, like, you don't let anyone else help you. And I was, like, starting to get annoyed with her at this point because I was like, you do the same thing, Feyre. Like, you are desperate to jump in and be the hero and, like, shield everyone else so that they don't have to get hurt, supposedly, and, like, coddle your sisters.
She makes it 17 bargains. She's given herself back to Tamlin like 3 times at this point. Like, she does the same exact thing.
It's insane. And, like, also the fact that, like, initially they were like, yo, you need to ask Nesta to help us because she has these powers that we don't understand, but we know they're going to be helpful. And she's like, no, my sisters don't get involved. Like, my sisters are absolutely not involved. And it's like, oh, maybe ask them first. Like, this is the thing that you were pissed at Tamlin for the entire second book. And, like, now you're doing it to your sisters.
I also think that Rhys was doing this pretty bad during this book too. Like, him and Feyre, it felt like there was this purposeful theme of like self-sacrificing, but also like in my opinion, a hypocritical way. But do you think when Sarah J. Maas was writing this, she was like, do you think she also wrote it to make you feel like it was hypocritical, or was she writing them to be like the heroes of the moment?
No, I think it was intentionally hypocritical because, like, I do, which I appreciate about the characters in a lot of her series, is like she does not make them these like beacons of light and hope who like have no flaws, you know, like she writes truly well-rounded and morally gray characters and like who are willing to make these like crazy calls or like be flawed. And I think that that's what she was doing with Feyre and Rhys because I feel like up until this point, all we had seen of Feyre is that like she was saving her family when they were starving. She saved all of the fairies when she killed Amarantha and did the trials. Like she got out of Tamlin's clutches at the Spring Court, like and ended up like helping the Night Court. Like there were all of these things where she, I think, was just painted in this very like heroine light. And I think it's good that we're now seeing some of her flaws because otherwise it just wouldn't be believable.
Yeah, and hopefully it's her time to take a back seat.
I do have a question about that because I'm interested in like how we take on morally gray characters who are not like the sexy, broody MMC. And I do think that a lot of times we get like pissed when the FMC is morally gray and like is flawed. And like we get more upset in that regard than we do with the men. And I wonder if you feel that way too and share that sentiment.
Yeah, I do agree. And that's not correct. Like we do like give the men this pass of being like morally gray because it's like they're being like sexy or protective. And when a female does it, you're like, you're too much, you're immature.
Yeah.
Like all of the negative things, but you're not going to change my mind that I hate Feyre. Red flag for readers. Red flag for romantasy
Reader
readers.
red flag. Romantasy reader red flag.
We shouldn't be falling into these tropes so easily that the morally gray MMCs get a pass for being really, like, they are showing a lot of red flags themselves. And then the women are immediately called out when they do one thing.
Yep, exactly.
Romantasy
But
reader red
then
flag.
we get into a green flag for Azriel because he is the first one to figure out that Elain is a seer. And partially he figures this out because of his shadows, but then also he has been one of the only people that have actually been paying attention to her this entire time. Like, he has been, like, truly listening to her, like, truly, like, watching her and seeing her when everyone has just been like, oh my God, poor Elain, like, let's all tiptoe around her.
Yeah, green flag as
big green flag for our mans. And so basically she called the hybrid attack on Valaris from the jump, which was wild because I got, like, when I was first reading this, I had no idea. And I was like, that girl is kooky.
Yeah, I actually
something's up.
Also thought she was just, like, speaking nonsense. Like, she was having nightmares.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. So then we all get back to the townhome. Nesta and Elain have been actually relocated to the townhome at this point, too. So, like, they're fully living there. Lucien is also living there. Spoiler alert, Lucien and Elain have not had... they barely had any contact. Like, Lucien's, like, tried to speak to her twice, and it just has gotten not good. So, based on this, they find out through a lot of these trials and tribulations that there is a sixth queen that we have not met, that we did not meet in ACOWAR, and her name is Vassa. And she actually, like, defected from her queen sisters, essentially, like, long ago, and was very much close with the golden-haired queen, the one that, like, actually gave them the...
she was so sweet.
She was great, R.I.P. But she was one that helped Rhys and Feyre and ACOWAR. And so Vassa is missing. No one knows where she is, but we do know that she's cursed. And we don't know why, but we do know that she's, like, off kind of building her own separate kingdom. And so they're like, we need to find her. Like, this could be a huge unlock for us. And Moore's like, I'll go. And Rhys is like, absolutely not. You're fucking needed here. And Azriel's like, I'll go. Rhys is like, no. Lucien's like, I'll go.
Yes. And
I'm not doing anything, so I will go.
He's like, I actually need to get out of this house. Nobody's paying attention to me. I need something to do. I need some fresh air. But
I went from being the second most important person in the spring court to being irrelevant at the night court.
I was really confused about Vassa because they said that she's, like, trapped by a curse in this, like, lake somewhere by some evil man. But then also she has an entire army.
Right.
I'm like, why isn't this army, like, helping her get away from this man?
I think that they assume that she has an army behind her, but I don't know that they actually know. And so I feel like part of that was like, Lucien, go, like, verify what's going on with this queen.
Didn't, but they were like, we think she does. So, like, they were still thinking that. So they think that this woman is trapped. Nobody's seen her in years. And there's this, like, man that's keeping her down. But then also, like, she could help us. It didn't make any sense to me.
I think what made sense to me was that if they could bring her forward, then she could probably call on the human armies to aid them.
She's been missing for a long time. I don't know about that.
It was a swing. It was a big swing. So right after this happens, Amren bursts into the townhome and she's like, I have just received word from Varian. Varian, who we remember is the
cousin.
I think the cousin? Yeah, the cousin of Tarquin, who is the High Lord of the Summer Court.
I'm just verifying you're correct.
Of the Summer Court. That Hybrid has launched an attack on the Summer Court right after he attacked Valaris. And
Why
they're like,
the
God
Summer Court?
damn it.
I don't understand.
I don't know. The poor Summer Court, poor Tarquin. He was just such a sweet, like, young High Lord that was just trying to do right. And he's just getting screwed left and right.
Can I talk about this scene? So they decide to go protect Tarquin, even though they have these blood rubies on their head, because they're like, we're gonna come in and save him and he's not gonna be mad anymore, which is legit. That's the, like, correct way of thinking. They get there. Mor and I'm like ready to skip to Nesta. Mor and Feyre are like, we're gonna go into the palace and like take out all of the men that are in there while the boys go on the front line and like do their Illyrian shit. So they
Yep.
go in the palace, and the magic that Feyre is using and the powers she's using is never before seen. I was like, where have you been hiding this? Like, I know that you've like kind of been microdosed Faebane this whole time, so maybe that's why like this has been hiding. But she is literally drowning people from the inside out with their own body liquids. She's like burning people alive. She's shuttering all the light out of the room, and then they're slashing throats with like their Illyrian blades. Like, she is using she's blasting white light from the Dawn Court. Everybody's powers are being used. Why is this the first time we're seeing this?
I think that because we know that like Feyre is this unreliable narrator, and we do know that her and Rhys were like pretty hell-bent on hiding a lot of the fact that she was as powerful as she is. I wonder if she like trained more and like understood more and all of that stuff than like we even got an impression of as readers.
That's what
And
one
then
of
like
my questions was like, has she been secretly training?
yeah, and then, like, it obviously comes out when it needs to, but she's not it's kind of like how I think about Rhys, where, like, they always talk about how he's most powerful High Lord of all time, like, has powers beyond anyone's possible understanding, but then the only time he shows it is when he's, like, doing his mind powers and when he's, like, making his wings show up. So they end up winning this battle in the Summer Court. They save everyone there, and Tarquin is still kind of an asshole to them for whatever reason. And they afterwards are like, okay, he needs time to process what just happened, whatever. But we do need to move up this High Lords meeting that we've been trying to plan for the last however many weeks.
Yeah, it's like
and
really the most drawn out planned meeting.
They have been trying to bring these High Lords together to essentially sit down and like talk about who's going to ally against Hybern, what people have to offer, game plan, strategize, all of that stuff. And they're like, we need to make it urgently clear that this needs to happen right fucking now because Hybern is making moves and these people don't even understand it. And meanwhile, they're talking about this in their like little war camp before they go back to Valaris. And Feyre just decides that she's like gonna give Rhys a blowjob like out of nowhere.
People are dead.
She's like, his moans are mixing with like the moans and screams of like the soldiers that are dying on the outside.
People's wings are being worked on by healers, and they're having the worst pain of their lives. And he's getting a wet blowjob.
Absolutely wild. Let's skip ahead to the High Lords meeting because this is where things like really pop the fuck off. So they decide that it's going to happen at the Dawn Court because apparently the Dawn Court has historically kind of been like Switzerland where they're like, we're just neutral. And so actually the Dawn Court world building was amazing. I was like, why does this sound like the best court out of all of them? Like it was just like beautiful and serene, and like the colors were amazing, and like everyone's just calm and quiet and chill. Like it was just so nice.
This is where her healing powers come from.
Yes.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, which checks out. So everyone shows up with their entourages basically, and they're like about to sit down and talk shop, and then Tamlin shows up.
Bust Tamlin.
And Tamlin, spoiler, does not have an entourage. He's solo.
And he's pissed about it because Feyre ruined all of his relationships.
Because Feyre single-handedly took down his entire court. And so literally the second that he shows up, chaos just ensues.
Yeah.
He basically makes this High Lords meeting into a Bravo reunion. Like he's like, I'm going to fucking call out every single person here.
Receipts.
And Tamlin comes with receipts, which also biggest red flag of all time. I was like, this man is supposed to be years old, and then he's just coming for this 20-year-old girl. Like it's literally nothing.
And he's
like,
so petty. Red flag.
So petty.
The man comes in and he's like, oh, Rhys, I bet you love those little moans Feyre makes right before she's supposed to orgasm. And I was like, holy shit, the man has come to play. Red flag.
Red flag. And so who speaks up at that moment? Asriel. He's like, be careful how you speak of my high lady. And I'm like, oh, green flag, left and right for this guy. And this is what sucks, is that Tamlin was actually making like not horrific points, but he was just such a fucking twat about it.
Yeah.
But it just like took it away.
he says that he wants to side with them all of a sudden and that he's like been a spy for Hybern this whole time.
Yes. Yeah.
Which doesn't
And
add up.
which doesn't add up. So they all choose to trust him, though. And once he gets over his fucking pettiness, there's like multiple other fights. Like basically, Tamlin is trying to convince all of these High Lords that Feyre and Rhys cannot be trusted, which apparently Emily is on his side on.
Yes.
And yes.
100%.
And so he's essentially trying to like character attack them and say that like they are going to use all of the High Lords to like get whatever they want from Hybern, and then they're gonna like try and take over Prithian themselves.
Which honestly, that is how history goes. So I don't doubt his logic.
Why is Emily Team Tamlin during this High Lords meeting?
He was crazy.
And so they all shut him down, and they're like, Tamlin, Rhys has given us no concrete examples for why we shouldn't trust him. Like, we don't care about your stupid lovers quarrel that you're in. Like, we have a country and a continent to save. And so they like get into all of their negotiations about things, like how things are going to go. And they like split off for the night because they're like, okay, we're exhausted and we've been bitching at each other for way too long.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they get into a huge like spat with the Autumn Court, like Baron's being like a complete asshole basically, and Eris starts to like throw some snide at Moore, and that pisses Azriel off, which like he took it too far. I was like, sir, you are in control of your emotions at all times, and for some reason at this High Lords meeting you're like popping off left and right.
I'm sorry, Azriel, but you're the one that helped bring this man into the fold.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So Feyre shows the extent of her powers on Baron because Baron came for Rhys, of course. And that's when all of the High Lords learn that Feyre has these kernels of their power. And they're like, oh, shit, give it back.
Yeah.
Give it back. We didn't know that this is how this is going to go.
Somebody was like, oh, I thought I felt something missing. I was like, yeah. Okay.
Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, you literally did not.
You have no idea. So then Nesta steps up out of all people and she's like, you all need to get the motherfuck over yourself. Like, human lives are at stake. Fairy lives are at stake. Like, shut up and sit down and negotiate like adults. And then they like actually kind of do. But Baron like disappears before then.
Right.
So then they decide after like hours of negotiation, they're like, let's take a break. Let's all sleep here. And then we'll recommence in the morning. And Elain ends up being actually like a very close friend of the Night Court. Like, he's like known that Rhys was actually a good guy the whole time. Feyre is giving him like the third degree. She's like asking him every possible personal question,
and
even
it's
though
so
she literally met him 4 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's so random.
But then we learn that he is actually Lucien's father.
Yeah. And it all comes from Feyre having a like, that's so Raven moment. She's like literally is just talking to this man. And then in her head, she's like, oh my God, Elain is Lucien's father. And Rhys is like, oh, wow, I never knew before,
no idea.
but now I can't unsee it. And I'm like, you guys are the worst.
Big plot twist that I did not see coming in the first book. And then I remember reading it again and I was like, holy shit, this was crazy. So amidst all of this drama, Nesta comes into the room and she's like, something does not feel right. Something's off. I don't understand. And Feyre's like, nothing's wrong, but like, let's go check. And so they check. Nothing's wrong. They go back to sleep. The next day, Nesta is still like unwell. She's like, I don't feel good. I don't know what's going on. She starts vomiting and no one can understand what's going on. And then out of nowhere, boom, there's a earthquake felt across the world. And they figure out that the cauldron was just used to bring the human wall down.
Dun, dun, dun.
And that's where we leave off with that one. Scene.
Crazy.
Wow.
Okay.
A lot happened.
Scene was crazy, but the rest of that half wasn't. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's talk about our character rankings. So we have how many people at this point? It's Feyre, Rhys, Moore, Amren, Cassian, Azriel, Nesta, Elain, Tamlin, Lucien, and Ianthe.
Okay.
So that's 11. Number 11 for me is obviously Ianthe.
Yeah, 100%. That girl.
Like, Sexual predator,
Sexual predator.
D1 gaslighter. Like,
She
she
carried
is just,
chains with her to the forest just to tie Lucien up.
she is the worst.
Yeah.
So she's number 11. My number 10 is Tamlin, for sure.
Yeah,
Because it's
definitely.
like, he just literally did not learn his fucking lesson. Like,
No.
he gets a, like, second chance, which he doesn't know is fake, but he gets a technical second chance with Feyre back at the Spring Court, and he just botches it again.
Yeah. He literally tried to, like, redo book 1. Maybe that's why I was so bored at the beginning. Number 9, Lucien.
Yeah.
And I was
He was-
so close to ranking him number 10, lower than Tamlin, because he was pissing me off
I mean, we
so
know
much.
that you were Team Tamlin during
I
the High
know.
Lords meeting,
That's
so
why
that's
he almost
not
got
surprising.
9.
I will say, even though Tamlin didn't learn his lesson, Lucien still did, where, like, Feyre would, like, speak up or do something or whatever, and Lucien would back her openly and, like,
Yeah.
go against Tamlin. So I appreciated that. I was like, if anyone in that manner learned their lesson, it was literally Lucien.
That's very true. That is very true. Number 8.
Ooh, this is hard now because we're in the inner circle.
Yeah,
and
we're
with
in the inner
sisters.
circle with the sister.
Okay, my 8's probably Elain.
Oh, my 8 is more.
Really?
Yeah. You know what my number 1 problem with her is?
What?
She keeps saying that what do they say she is? Morrigan the truth teller?
Yeah.
This girl has never once told the truth, I don't think.
But that's my thing with Moore is, like, we know so little about her.
I don't know.
Like, we don't know what her powers even mean at this point.
She feels like a very unproven character to me right now, and that's why she's at 8.
Yeah, that's fair. I do agree, which I also feel that way about Elaine, though.
Okay.
Because, like, she's done nothing at this point other than, like, throw out some prophecies that were helping
true.
them. And then started to, like, heal and make bread. And, like, that was kind of it.
Agreed.
There's a war happening around you. Like,
but
wake up.
You'll see my ranking for her later, and maybe you'll be surprised.
Later. So that means she's not even 7.
No, 7 is Feyre.
Oh
She
my God.
is the worst character in this book. Like, I couldn't put her below these other people because, like, they actually were villains and Moore provided nothing. But Feyre was an active participant in this book, and she was the worst. I couldn't stand her high lady attitude. I couldn't stand the grudge she was holding and, like, how far she was taking it.
Okay, my 7 was Moore for very similar reasons that you were just calling out. And I also, although I, like, empathized with her a lot of the time, I do think that she puts her personal grudges and issues above everything else.
Yeah. I feel like you felt about Moore how I felt about Feyre, even though I ranked her lower.
Well, technically, we ranked Moore and Feyre at the same level, so.
Yeah.
Okay, 6.
My 6 is going to be Rhys.
What? You have Elain before Moore, Rhys, and Feyre. Are you out? I actually need to skip to whatever you're ranking, Elain, because I cannot comprehend where the fuck this is going.
I gave Rhys like 3 red flags and I gave her 0. Why would I put her below him? Rhys was so annoying in this book to me. He lost all of his sexiness. Like, he was honestly giving me the ick. Like, I didn't even want to read their sexy scenes. Like, I skipped past it because I was like, dude, you need to figure out your life.
He was not giving me the ick. I definitely didn't get as much of the, like, magic from him in this reread because I think I just know too much at this point.
He was like simping. It was like too much of a simp the whole time.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind him in this book, honestly, which, like, again, putting him under Elain is actually, that's insane. My next one is going to be Amren.
Okay.
Because I thought that which is probably going to switch by the end of the book, but I did think up until this point, she was, like, starting to show certain things that I thought were great, but it was just not enough at this point to, like, beat the other characters for me.
Okay. My next one is Elain. But I
can't. Oh my God.
Actually, like, When I read this book the first time, I actually thought that she didn't say a single word. Like, I didn't think she was in the book. Like, I thought that she, like, was like, "I'm gonna hide in this room," and she was just taken out of the book. So, the whole time when I was reading it during the reread, I was like, "Oh my god, she's, like, actually very present, and she's actually telling people what is going on, and nobody's listening to her." And
She didn't
so
she didn't say that that was what was happening. Like, she literally was just saying, like, gobbledygook. Like,
well,
of course they thought that.
sometimes you can't judge a book by the cover, okay? She was literally handing them information that they needed to win this war, and nobody was listening to her.
This is brutal rationale for why Elaine has taken a top spot on this character
Yeah.
ranking.
I think she, like, in my reread, I liked her, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this girl knows what's going on."
What exactly did you like about her? Because she quite literally said like 10 words,
I
and
liked
those
that
10
she was
were the prophecy.
I liked that she was prophesizing. I liked that she was a seer. I also like really liked every time she kind of like blew Lucien off. I thought it was so funny.
God. Okay, I could not disagree more. Hamlin stan and an Elaine stan.
Yeah, and maybe that's what ACOTAR 6 is going to be about. Watch, you're all going to eat your words.
Oh my God. All right, what's our next one? I need to move on from this.
I don't even know what number
4?
I'm at. No, it's like
5?
5. Yeah, it's 5.
Okay. My next one is Feyre.
Okay, that's a pretty low ranking for you, Feyre stan, so let us know.
I think I'm pretty neutral on Feyre. Like, I feel like I see her for her flaws and her strengths, and like, she doesn't particularly annoy me per se, but she's also not like my favorite character.
My next one is Cassian because I think he's like just now starting to show his like care and concern for Nesta, which is one of my
Yeah.
favorite storylines, but like not a lot has happened with him at this point.
My next one is Azriel.
Okay. Why?
Oh, and I think that Cassian is above him.
Why is Azriel below Cassian?
Because I think that Azriel, while he started to like really show his character colors in this, and like he was there for everyone, like he was supportive of everything, whatever, like we still didn't see all of the things that we start to see of him later on.
Okay.
I felt like
My
I got more of Cassian than I did of Azriel.
Really? Okay, my next one is Nesta.
Is Azriel not your number one?
My next one is Nesta. And I think
Okay.
it's the same thing as Cassie, and like I loved their little like side storyline, and she was like actually starting to open up and like trust him and then trust herself and everything. So
Yeah.
I liked that, but I like needed a little bit more. Like so far we haven't seen her do much besides like practice and then throw up.
Not throw up, and that's it. I think my 3 is Cassian
Oh, because you
for the
said
reasons that I just said.
yeah, okay. My
And then my 2 is Rhys.
Okay, why? Because that makes no sense.
I'm sorry, it makes 4,000 times more sense than you putting Elaine where you put her. No, I actually really liked how he was set up during this part of the book because like you start to see his like frayed edges in a way that I don't feel like we fully saw in Akamath. Like I feel like in Akamath it was very much about his like trauma from under the mountain and whatever, but like now we're seeing like how he deals with like being under all of this pressure of the situation that they're in and like how he strategizes and like even though he maybe was being a simp with Feyre, like I wasn't really put off by it.
Ugh. Ugh. He's barely strategizing.
And he was still like funny and charismatic. Like I love his personality. I don't know. I'm still a Rhys fan
Okay.
even after this.
My number 2 is Amren. And
Why?
I said earlier what I liked about her was that she was the only one that was like meeting everybody where they were at. She was meeting Nesta where she was at and was like, hey, we're going to figure out what to do with you, but like at your own pace. She was not like pushing anybody. She was the only one I felt that was like head in the game. Like, we're going to figure this out and everybody needs to put their own emotions aside.
All right, my number 1 was Nesta.
Okay, why?
I really liked that she like you do really start to see her like arc during this time where like at the beginning she's just like reading and pissed off at everyone, but then like literally gets to the point where she becomes the emissary to the human world. She
Yeah.
is like, I watched you guys go straight into battle for the summer court, where it's like, no one there, like, you don't really care about them, and you just did it because it was the right thing. So, like, I can do these things because it's the right thing. Like, she's like really thrown herself into training with Amren. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, you're seeing her when she, like, has a purpose and she, like, has something to do, and, like, she
Mm-hmm.
was really rising to the occasion.
I agree
And I
with you.
loved
You know,
it,
I
and I
love
loved
Nesta.
that she was, like, starting to show her feelings towards Cassian too.
Yeah. I can't disagree with you because you know I love Nesta. She's an amazing character by the end of this all. So I'm not going to fight you
Yeah.
on it.
Is
Isn't that?
Azriel really about to be your number one?
And my number one is
This is actually the wildest
Azriel.
ranking.
He was green flags the whole time we said that. And he was
Yes.
the only one listening to Elain when she was talking and like
Oh, right,
taking
I forgot you're
care.
in Elaine's stance, so this
Yeah,
does make sense.
exactly. I'm not waffling. And he was taking care of her. He was listening. He also was like putting himself out there in like for others instead of himself. Like he was constantly saving everybody the entire time. He was also just following his friends and doing his job. And like he was just green flag. And that man does nothing wrong the entire time.
Okay, this is interesting.
I don't
Dare
have.
I say that he does nothing wrong because we literally don't know enough about
He
him for,
fights
like, him to show a
Eris.
bad side.
He fights Eris. I agreed with that. I was like, yeah, you should do that.
I can't believe it. I hope the audience is in as much shock as I am right now.
They're not.
They're not. All right, let's get into our potential tie-ins to ACOTAR 6
Our
and
fan
some
theories.
fan theories
And you know what the
that we
fans
looked up.
love? Elain and Azriel. Fan theory number 1.
Yes. So Feyre, at a certain part during the book, comments on how mating bonds can't be perfect. And like she doesn't understand how they're set and all of that stuff. And so her and Rhys are talking about it. And she's like, I don't understand why Azriel and Elain can't be mates. Like they'd be way better than her and Lucien. And Rhys basically tells her like there is an option to break the mating bond or reject the bond.
Yeah.
But in the past, it's gotten deadly because typically the male in the bond is like very territorial and like feels it much more strongly than the female does until she actually accepts the bond. And so it's like turned into a bloodbath essentially and like could. But then Rhys was like, if that ever happened, she would have the full extent of the night court behind her if she decided to reject it.
Yeah, I do think that's some major foreshadowing with what's to come because I had to ask Cassie this, but she confirmed Lucien is actually Elaine's mate, right?
Yes.
So if my idea is correct and Azriel and Elain get together in ACOTAR 6, then there's going to be a battle over it. There has to be.
Yeah, there has to be 100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think there's a lot to the fact that like Azriel was the one that made Elaine comfortable, like brought her out of her shell. He was the one that like saw that she was the seer. And so I think there was a lot of setup in this book for the two of them that I
Mhm.
didn't fully remember the first time
Yes,
around, where it's like,
exactly, right?
oh, I do really see how this could potentially come together.
Yeah, it's like she's really setting them up to be main characters.
Yeah, which I love.
I have some Crescent City crossover for you because
Oh, okay.
I have this theory that ACOTAR 6 is going to be when all 3 universes cross over. And so
Uh-huh.
I'm starting to try to puzzle how this could exactly work out. Number 1, I like really got stuck on the Bone Carver called Cassian, the Prince of Bastards. And I was like, wait, I don't remember him being a bastard. Let me look up his like background. And this is where I see this theory is that he really is a bastard because they don't know who his dad is. And there's a theory that because Cassian's power is so much stronger than it necessarily should be, and because his power is like sometimes expresses itself as like heat and fire, that his dad was actually a prince of hell and Cassian is going to be related to Hunt.
Interesting.
Yeah, can
I
you see
mean,
that?
I can't not see it. I also have seen that Asriel is a prince of hell as
So
well.
when they are in season 3, when they like the crossover with ACOTAR happens, does Cassian meet anybody in Crescent City?
I think it might have just been Nesta and Rhys and Asriel that
I
were
think
like
so
directly involved
too.
with Bryce and Hunt.
I think so too. So I don't know, but also like Asriel and Cassian definitely like, they could be related, so they could all be
Yeah,
princes of hell.
yeah, totally. So people are saying that Asriel could potentially be a prince of hell, because at the end of CC2, when Bryce asks to go to hell, and she like technically winnows to Prithian, and the first person she sees is Asriel.
Oh.
And then there's like things about his shadows and all of that stuff too.
I believe it.
Yeah,
Him and
very
Cassian
interesting.
could be like those little guys from Hercules that are like Hades' little henchmen.
Yeah, totally.
I
Which
believe it.
also, speaking of Crescent City, there was a part that was called out in this book where they're meeting with Kier, and he's like, I have to go because I need to meet with Lord Thanatos, who was a character in Crescent City. Lord Thanatos is the same name as the fourth Prince of Hell in
Oh,
Crescent
not
City.
another Prince of Hell.
It's another one. And I guess this is the only other mention of this Lord Thanatos in the entire like Massiverse other than in Crescent City.
Well, Kier is like the king of like the court of nightmares. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting because I was like, what is that? What does that mean? What does that crossover mean?
That maybe everybody is a Prince of Hell.
Maybe. The last thing that I wanted to call out was during the High Lords meeting, when Tamlin was being a petty bitch.
Yeah.
He was like, don't you see what Feyre and Rhys's grand plan is? Like, it's to become the king and queen of Prithian once Hybern's out of the way.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, 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 no. But then literally in the 5th book,
Yeah, I was
Feyre
so
and Rhys
mad.
start talking about the fact that like they could take over and become king and queen of
I-
Prithian.
History repeats itself. We knew that was going to happen. It happens in every country in the world. It's probably happening on other planets. People are
That's
power
true.
hungry. They can't stop
That is true.
themselves.
That is true. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for part 1. This is a meaty episode.
Yeah.
But let's be real, all of the action is going to happen in part 2. We're going to revisit the battles, the jaw-dropping moments that happen across the last like 100 pages. Like, it's actually crazy how much happens at the end. So cue it up because that's where things are actually going to go off the rails.
And if you have been loving this reread with us, the best way you can support us is by sharing with your friends, sharing with your family, maybe someone new to ACOTAR, or maybe somebody that's only read part of the Massiverse and is wondering if they should start. Sharing is the easiest way to help us grow and get us to be able to keep doing this for you because it's so much fun and we hope you are enjoying it as well. Drop
Yeah.
a comment in the DMs, follow us on Instagram, let us know what you think of everything we're doing because we look forward to the feedback.
All right. We'll see you back here. Same time, same place. Bring your blankets, bring your book boyfriends, and we'll see you then.
See ya!